In front of you, you've got two sheets. One looks a little bit like the 4-part whiteboard, and the second one is a sheet with no title on it. You've got 2 minutes to work in pairs, and using the sheet with no title on, you have to fill in the first 3 sections on the 4-part whiteboard sheet. Go.
The idea behind this lesson is firstly to make pupils teaching partners in charge with various aspects of the lesson, and secondly to allow them to have a taste of what it means to plan a lesson, to design resources, and to stand at the front and deliver. Pupils had to meet with their teacher in advance and decide theme, design and select appropriate activities, and they had to repeatedly go through the topic in order to make sure they thoroughly understand it themselves before explaining it to the other students. This, coupled with having to stand at the front, remember the sequence of activities and clearly explain the tasks, has been an eye-opener for all of them as to the joys of being a teacher.
Alright, what have some of you got for the learning objectives, Shirley?
To be able to recognise and form the short future tense in order to say a sentence using the short future tense.
Alright, what have some of you got for prior learning? Holly?
Past tense, long and short, future tense long.
Lloyd?
Know how to use the irregular verb.
Yep. Shirley?
Know how to recognise the adverb.
Right, on the board there's some success criteria. Now 3 of them are correct and are going to be successful in today's lesson. It's your job to pick out the 3 that you think are going to be successful in today. So you've got a minute now to think about which ones you think are the right ones and which ones are the wrong ones. You can start now.
From the 4 given success criteria, 3 are right, and it is up to the rest of the class to identify which ones they are, taking into account the theme and the learning intention. In doing that, pupils must carefully read, process and compare, and thus be able to remember them throughout the lesson. The language in which success criteria are written is clear and pupil-friendly, as it has been used by pupils for pupils.
Has everybody got an idea?
Yeah.
2, 4 and 5.
2, 4 and 5. Why'd you say 2, 4 and 5?
Because all 3 of them have got to do with like the tenses what we've been doing.
Yeah. Anybody else got any other ideas?
2, 4 and 5.
Yeah.
2, 4 and 5.
2, 4, 5.
Right. Anybody else got anything different? No? Good, because they're all correct.
Next, there's 4 sentences on the board, but they're all broken up. So what you have to do is put the sentences back together. You've got 2 minutes and you've got to work independently.
Pupils were asked to identify and follow certain steps when conjugating a verb at what they had decided to call the short future tense. As it is quite an abstract maneuver, teacher and pupils decided to use more interactive activities that would keep pupils' interest while helping them understand. Using simple, clear steps that would constitute a routine, that is, the routine of conjugating the verb at future tense, or cooking it at future tense in pupil speech, will allow them to recall it in unfamiliar contexts.
Can't move it now.
Pressing it to our shire.
It doesn't make sense. It's like 2 there, but hold on.
Yeah, that's the one. Right, so does anybody have the first one as I find the verb in the dictionary? Not allowed. Does anybody have I look for the daddy verb or the infinitive as the first one? And does anybody have I attach the appropriate endings to the daddy verb? So it goes in that order. Does anybody have it like that? Put your hands up if you got it like that. Right, so using that pattern that you've just shown, if you wanted to say I will visit, you have visitor and add E with an accent. If you wanted to say you single will visit, you need to add as with an A on the accent. And if you wanted to say he or she visits, you need to add A with an accent.
If you wanted to say we will visit, you'd add emos with an accent over the E. If you wanted to say you visit, plural, you'd add a's onto the end of it with an accent over the E. And if you wanted to say they, you'd do and to the end of it with an accent over the A.
Right, now me and Peter need 3 volunteers each. Right, so
Okay,
if you wanted to say I visit, what would you add to visit our? So which person would you add to visit our? Say I visit. Cheyenne. Right. If you wanted to say he or she visit, then. If you wanted to say he or she visit. Sorry. If you wanted to say I visit, what would you add?
Lewis.
Right. If you wanted to say he or she visited, who would you add?
Cheyenne.
If you wanted to say you single visited, who would you say?
Jack.
Right, if you wanted to say we, which one would you use?
We. Ola.
Ola. If you wanted to say you, plural, which one would you use?
Deborah.
Right. No? Would you?
Oh no, Alicia.
Right, go on. And who would you use for they?
Deborah.
Yeah. There we go. How'd you say I will visit?
And for I will visit, who would you add?
I will visit.
How would we say it? I will visit.
Visitor.
Visit. No, because you don't knock anything off. You use this and add. Then you add.
Visitor.
That's it.
So, stay there.
Visitor.
So you don't take anything off. You just add it.
Visitare.
Visitare, yeah.
In the English, there is a will.
Pupils were invited by their colleagues to ask questions if unsure of certain aspects of the future tense. So Shula is unclear as to why the will, present in English language, disappeared.
So they don't need it because it's hidden in between the daddy verb and the ending.
Is anybody else, Aaron?
In English, there's an I before the verb shall be doing the action. There's no I before visitor. Otherwise, it's not.
Well, if you're using, because the I is in the ending, it's like it would be, then you don't need it, so you add it on at the end, into the ending. Any more questions? If anybody can't see, just come forward.
Using the already existing websites, software, such as Languages Online, has been quite a discovery for pupils preparing the lesson, and is always a hit with all students, as it gets them competing with themselves and the others, and it helps them self or peer assess.